Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker, here to uncover, ascend the mountain of teas and the experiences behind those teas. Got a green tea today. I'm going to go ahead and get it started with my Gaiwan here, the empty vessel. This is about a 4-ounce size here for my Gaiwan, and I'm going to use my spoon, scoop out enough to cover the bottom, say, inch and half of the diameter of the bottom of my Gaiwan there. You just want to get just a bit more. That looks good. Close that up. Keep it just a little bit fresher for just a second as I add my water. My water has been brought to a boil and has been cooling for a little under a minute. So it's still got some heat to it, but not too heavy, not too harsh for this. That looks good. Let me set this out of the way. And cover this. Keep it in the darkness there. Keep it covered. And a little bit of water along, just sticking above the rim is nice. It creates a seal and keeps everything trapped inside there. Now, while that's steeping for just a moment, I'm going to introduce this tea and talk a little bit about it. This is from China Chadao. This is their 2011, this year, their MingQian LongJing Grade 1. There are different grades depending on the quality of a tea, depending on how small the size of the leaf, the development there, as far as is it one of the first earlier heart plucks. If it may not be the first day, maybe later on. There's different aspects to the grade there. As far as what China Chadao provides as far as LongJings from the Westlake area in the Hangzhou area of China in Zhejiang province, you've got a 5A, a 3A, superior grade, special grade, grade 1, and grade 2. So this one is second from the bottom of those, what did I say, those 6 there that I just mentioned. This one would be number 5, grade 1. 125 grams, available for $19.99, just under $20. Okay, talk about this tea for just a moment. Kind of pull out a few. Just a couple of weeks ago, we also looked at the 3A, I believe it was the AAA. And so this should be different from that. First off, aromas, they're fairly light. There is a bit of a faint in the background, kind of lemony type of smell that's coming off of this. A little bit of greenness. Think of something like a sugar snap pea coming off as well. Let's pull out a few of these and just kind of look at these leaves. These are, you can tell that these are still in the, they've been pressed, fired in a wok or in a surface, because they are pressed flat. A lot of times if this is done by hand, you actually press your hand to help to flatten these out, to help smooth them out. Color-wise, I'm getting, they've got some emerald green, some bright green, lighter than emerald green, but they've got some kind of yellow, green-yellow type colors there. They've got several of these are kind of a sparrow tongue, meaning more than one leaf pressed together. Shape-wise, yeah, they do have that flat sparrow tongue. There's not a lot of fuzzy aspect to these, although there are clumps, pockets of fuzz here and there that can kind of accumulate as these are pressed and moved through the wok for the firing process there. Inch, I would say a lot of these are an average of an inch in length as far as size goes. Let me return those. But I'm going to suspect, because this is a grade 1, say compared to a 3A or something like that, that this one is going to be a little bit darker green. You got a bit more of a yellowish tinge to it, as opposed to a paler green that can come with a more delicate type of leaf. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead now and pour here. Let me move this forward just a little bit, because I'm going to get my, actually I can probably do it over my stand here. Move my lid over to the side just a little bit. Take my Guy one in hand. That looks good. Actually, let me just shake out any few last drops. There's just a few there. That looks good. Andy will talk a little about this wet leaf. Okay. Give it a good smell first. Initial notes, I'm getting a bit of a little bit of a green bean, a little bit of a fresh type of lima bean. There's a very, and again, these have been cooked pretty heavily type of smell, so that there's a little bit of veering over towards a light, very light nuttiness. If there were any kind of light nutty component, it would be pine nut or sunflower seed, something along those lines. Again, that's more subtle. That's underneath the other aspects that I just mentioned. Looking at these leaves, they have lightened up some. I see a little bit of a flake, at least in this first piece that I pulled out, a little bit of a flake, dark color, maybe a little bit of the heat got to these, or little pieces of little flakes got a little scorched and got trapped in these leaves here. So this one's actually 2 leaves and a tip there, so I'm going to place that in here to look at. Let me see what else I can pull out. So actually this little piece of a stem. I'm noticing the ends of these also, the stem end of these, very clean, straight cut, browning taking place along the edges there, indicating that this was most likely a hand plucked, but in that hand again were scissors or knives or some kind of cutting tool. So you've got some tips there, you've got some individual leaves, and you've got leaf, tip, or bud sets as well. Brighter yellow colors now. They've unfurled quite almost fully, so there's a lot to look at within those leaves there. So setting that to the side, I'm going to go ahead and pour. And before I pour though, I'm going to talk about the liquor for just a moment. Look at this, and hold this up. Bright yellow, yellow-green colors there. Got a nice brightness to it. I'm going to go ahead and pour. Light aromas coming off. Again, still a little bit of like a sugar snap pea. I get just a hint of kind of a corn husk type of green smell in there too. Looking down into the cup, still good brightness, not dull or flat looking. Someone compared body of a tea to wearing clothes, and body and aroma to wearing clothes. Aroma is like style or color. There are certain aspects of clothing, style, color that you may prefer. Same goes with aroma. There may be things that you prefer there. But then underneath that, there you talk about material. Often, most people look for a smooth, a soft, a delicate material for clothing. You may sacrifice some of that smooth, soft for the color, the style that you prefer. But then at the end of the day, you'll probably change your clothes into those more comfortable, relaxing clothes. Body is something similar. Body is that smooth, comforting feel that coats your mouth. That is that the aroma and everything else kind of stands on. If it's a pleasant aroma, but then it doesn't give a nice feel to it in the mouth, then you're wanting to change teas as you change clothes. This one, the body has a bit more stringency to it. than some others, than say the 3A that I looked at just a couple weeks ago. So that's more noticeable. Let me go ahead and give a little bit more here. A bit more, like I said, a bit more of a astringency, especially the swirl and gets to the back. Underneath the tongue, there's a bit of a tightening there as your tongue reacts to that astringent feel, that bite there, and starts to kind of draw up the back underside of your tongue. It hits on the back of your throat as well. And then what happens as far as the aftertaste? There is a very light, faint sweetness there, like having eaten, again, something like corn on the cob. There's that kind of kernel sweetness on a fresh piece of corn, but then as that fades, it leaves a little bit of a faint, light, grain type of kernel type of sweetness there. This one's more subtle than say even corn. As far as the aromas go, again, a bit of that. There's a bit of the green bean in there. There's a bit of a gentler sugar snap pea type of sweetness there as well. But those are lighter. They're more subdued, and they get overwhelmed fairly quickly and easily by that astringency that I was talking about. That rougher, comparatively rougher feel to in the mouth. So I would say that this tea garners I would give it an 87. That was my first reaction. It's got some nice components to it. Perhaps if you cold brewed this tea as a more of a mild summer drink, you could draw more enjoyment out of it. But come back to Walker Tea Review to explore to ascend the mountain, to explore more teas and discover what's there.